All right, finally I locked her in. I don't have to act like this Rico Suave guy anymore and be like this slob who scratches his balls on the couch and
Yeah.
Welcome to Camping for Assholes.
I really thought like a lot of things were going to change after I crossed the threshold of marriage, and now being in my 30s and looking back on that occasion, I realized that like nothing really changes. And Josh, you're recently married, so I'm assuming you might have a little more insightfulness on the recent marriage feeling, or that the world changes, or whatever. Like, did you get that epiphany, or?
I'm just so in fucking love. I don't know. No, I mean, I think it's a lot of the same, and I'm pretty sure it will continue that way.
Yeah, I think it was like okay, this is gonna sound horrible, and my wife is gonna watch this and be mad at me. But it almost feels like there's that forced, like, like, oh, I love it when you call me wife, and I love it when you call me hubby, and you start doing all those cutesy things. And I remember those moments, but like even looking back on that, it was just like, you're just people, and you love each other. And like to me, the title didn't mean shit. It didn't matter. Like, I don't know. That's I don't know if any of you guys want to disagree with that, or if you felt like it was like some big like change, but I felt like nothing real.
I think that's like what do they call it? The honeymoon phase or something, the stage where you're just kind of like so in love with each other, and it's not, you got your cutesy little nicknames and crap like that. And then, once you start getting into a rhythm and you almost start living with someone more and more, and you just want to rip their head off sometimes. It's bad. That sounds.
What's your nickname?
For me?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
What does Jackie call you? Asshole?
No, we don't really have too many nicknames, to be honest. I think I used to say darling back when we were dating, but then it was just kind of, like I said, you get out of that honeymoon stage, and it's just kind of like you're in a rhythm, and you get kids, and it's not that the love is falling out, but just your parents now.
It dries up.
Yeah. I just think it's a different stage of like dating, because like dating, you're trying to like win this person over completely, and it's not as much as that like you get over the hump, like, all right, finally I locked her in. I don't have to act like this Rico Suave guy anymore. I can be like this slob who scratches his balls on the couch, and like, it's like you just kind of fall into yourself, and you both know each other now, so it's like, you can kind of act yourself a feel more once you're married, I guess, if that's maybe a plus.
I think I more or less start any relationship just kind of doing all the things wrong, just to kind of test the waters a little bit. I don't know if you guys are like that at all, but like, yeah, I won't drop ass in your face like on the first date.
Oh, that's how you started.
You should. I mean, you really just like, to save yourself time, like you should just like complete bare ass butthole fart right at her, just to see if she accepts it. If she accepts it, then like, okay, well, that's me at my worst, and it can only get better. I don't know, like,
yeah.
But I don't know. Do you guys? I was gonna say, do you guys have any? Do you guys have any other cutesy nicknames or anything like that? Like, I was called my wife Babe, like ad nauseum, Babe. And I think, Josh, you even tuned into that. Like, man. Just, hey, babe.
I remember there was one specific time you were grilling out at your house, and I think you were looking for something. I think you were looking for a seasoning or maybe meat or something. And I swear to God, it had been like 20 times you yelled, babe. I was gonna just fucking shoot myself, but yeah, I get varying degrees of babe. Like that's what I know. The babe I get when I'm in trouble. I know the babe I get when I did something right. I get all sorts of babes.
Do you ever like picture me saying it when you hear?
Yeah, I specifically think of the scene from Hot Rod.
His married life is thinking about you.
Yes. Adam, you got any sweet nicknames?
I just have honey, but again, it's varying degrees. Like I know when honey is yelled very loudly that I am super fucked, and I know when like it's thank you for vacuuming without me asking you to. Like there's varying degrees of everything. The one thing I will say is I will disagree with you guys. For me, getting married was like a huge change, and it still is. But I think marriage was different for me because I was never, ever going to get married. Like I never wanted to. I was never something that I was interested in because I was never interested in a family. Like kids were just something that I love kids. Like I just never a responsibility I wanted personally. Like I love that my nieces and nephews have a return policy. But,
right.
like my wife and I were friends, and we both kind of knew each other at like a crappy point in our life. So we just kind of leaned on each other to be there as friends. And then I broke up with a girl and didn't really have anywhere to stay. So she just let me crash at her place, and I never moved out. Like we just kind of started dating and ended up getting married, and it just made sense all of a sudden. So it was kind of a big change for me to like stop being a selfish person and stuff like that. So for me, it was a huge change, and it kind of still is. Like it's a big change for who I was before. So yeah, it's just a little different perspective.
I think I rope in my selfishness a little bit, but like I still, it's like, you know how they say like you change and everything else. Like for me personally, like not much. Like I'm still very selfish and shitty in that regard. Like she reminds me of it all the time too. She'll just be like, you know, think of yourself, and it's like it could be over nothing. Like if I'm just looking for like my piece of toast in the morning instead of getting another, you know, everyone else toast. You know, think about yourself. It's like, oh, I'm still selfish.
Sorry.
You never completely lose that, but it is funny that when you get to those moments where the first thing you think is something stupid, like where's that, you know, like I'm sure for you, like it would be like, where's that guitar or whatever, like, you know what I mean? You have that thing that you would think about first. Now it's, I'm sure, like, where's my wife? Where are my kids? Like, you know, those things do change. You like, but your core selfishness is like, that's why I married a gamer, because now I don't get yelled at for playing video games all the time.
That's very, very smart.
Yeah.
I think with me, it was I kind of came into the relationship at my worst. So like,
yes,
I recently quit my job. I had no income, and I was trying to write a album for a band, well, with Josh. And it was like, that's what I was going to do. And she's still stuck by me through that horrible time of like, hey, can I move in? And I move in with her. And like, I'm just this piece of shit. I'm like, oh, you're a keeper. She put up with me at my worst. Like, it sounds shitty, but it was like, honestly, like I personally never thought I'd run into somebody that would accept me for like at my worst. I figured like, she'd just be like, oh, this guy sucks, and just like move on. But I don't know. She accepted me. I mean, that was a beautiful thing to, you know, marry somebody that like it truly accepts you for who you are, not to get all corny and like, oh, like that is a benefit. That is a benefit to everything. But like when you still have your selfish tendencies, then you gotta navigate those waters carefully and pick and choose your battles. I don't know.
It's always an astonishing moment when people say that women only look for project guys, you know, like they're like, women only look for guys they want to fix or whatever. And you think about it and you're like, not every girl's like that. And then you think about yourself and you look in the mirror and you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally a fucking project guy. Like, well,
yes. Yeah, unfortunately that's well, you know what? Like they don't want to admit it either, but they perfect. They got their shit that we have to navigate around and all that kind of crap. Like I'm sure you guys have those moments where you just want to like look at it and be like, you don't make any fucking sense, and then you want them to just be like, you're right, I'm not making any sense, and then you can just go on with your day. But instead, it's a 3-day excursion down shit road because you grabbed the first piece of toast. That's all I'm saying. Like,
gotta pick, like you said, you gotta pick and choose your battles. I think that's like what I've learned. I mean, I think we were just talking before. I've been now married for 8 years, and you know, it's like every every day you learn something new still. It's kind of keeping it fresh. But like, yeah, like I think earlier in my relationship, in my marriage, God, I'd just be like an argumentative piece of shit. It was just like whatever. It's like, that's fucking bullshit. No, like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I feel like, me and Jackie have grown in a relationship wise, like, even since we've been married like for 8 years, that now it's just like, you know what? I just, whatever. I'm just going to move on from that one. It's not even worth to poke the bear. And I'm going to be happier at the end of the day. I'm sure she's going to be happier because she's thinking she's right. I'm just going to move on. Sorry, babe, if you're listening to this, but
how many times have you guys given up on a fight that you knew you were in the right on, but you just let it go? You just, I can't even count anymore. I don't know. I think
like I said early on, I would never like back down, but now just like, I mean, it also kind of comes to the point where it's like, I think when you're younger and you're in a relationship, like you just don't really grasp the concept of it's not really that important. You want to be right. And I think like as I've matured and as, Jackie's matured through our relationship, I think it's just kind of like, why the hell are we arguing about something so stupid, like a piece of toast or something like that? Like, like we got more important shit. We got bills. We got, we're looking at houses or something like that, truck payment, there's so much other shit that we could be worrying about rather than who ate the first piece of toast, Jared. You selfish asshole.
Asshole.
I think food in marriage is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I think because food is it becomes a tenuous point in a marriage at times, or even a relationship. I can't, because I'm pretty newly married, but yeah, like, and there's this thing, I guess, depending on who you marry, as a man and you have children, you want to make sure your children are fed first, Jared.
Right.
And
this is really actually a learning.
Usually they are. Usually they are. One mistake.
But when you're the man and you provide, no, and I'm not talking about all households are like this. When you provide, perhaps the man should eat first.
It's kind of like a wolf pack, the alpha male eats first, right?
You get the steak while your kids get hamburger helper.
I just imagine Jared yelling and make a mistake every now and then as he's jumping off the boat while his wife and kids are still standing there. I make mistakes every now and then. You guys will get the next one.
Yeah, like that whole imbalance too of like, if the fucking ship sinks, I gotta wait here, and you guys get to go to safety, so I should get the fucking first piece of toast. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna need this chicken for the extra half mile I gotta swim.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I notice, these differences between, and perhaps again a little bit difference because most all of us have married women, if I'm correct, but these little differences as far as like going through the drive-through, that is still one of the most stressful times in my life. Going through a drive-through with my wife, it's fucking awful.
I don't agree.
You agree? Okay, so you have this problem too.
Yes.
Where you go to like Taco Bell or something, and they want, just today, all she wanted was to stop and get cookies at McDonald's, and she goes, "Well, how much? Ask them how much the cookie pack is." I'm like, do they even have a cookie pack? I want to know these things before I go in. She was just ask them how much. So I ask them and they tell me. She goes, "Okay, I want that, and tell them I want it fresh." It's fucking McDonald's. You're going to get whatever they give you.
Oh yeah, they're fresh.
Tell me you want it fresh.
My drive-through experiences
like,
are constant
I draw the line
panic.
there. I'll die for you. I will die for you. I will do many things for you. I draw the line at telling McDonald's I want something fresh.
Go ask them what time their baker clock's in.
Dude, I stress out when I'm with the family. The more people, and this goes for anything. It's not just marriage.
Yeah.
Like if there's a bunch of people in the car and they want to go through the drive-through, I'm immediately sweating. I hate those moments, like after band shows and stuff, where we try to run through something. It's always a fucking shit show because like somebody has to have a special order. Somebody has to mumble behind me. I can't hear them, and then like even like the fucking menu, like when you pull up, like I don't know if I lose it. I can't see it. It's right in front of me, but I can't read anything on it. I panic that hard sometimes. Meanwhile, kids are screaming. The fucking bandmates are. I don't know. I fucking hate drive-throughs sometimes.
Just burns out of the drive-through. I
also get like, I also freak out doing grocery pickup, which is really silly. But like, my wife insists that we use grocery pickup, but I have to go get it. And that pisses me off. I'm okay with going to the grocery store with said list and getting things, but I never get the right things. But that's because my wife writes down cheddar cheese. And I come home with cheddar cheese. But she's like, I wanted shredded. Okay, well, you got to write down shredded.
You're mad that somebody does it right for you?
So what's the nervousness involved with the pickups? That's what I want to know.
It's just the idea of like having to go there. And like, I know it's more convenient. It's because no grocery pickup is reasonably close to our house. Like we always end up going to like the Walmart pickup or festival pickup. It's like we don't ever shop there.
How much time do you spend walking around the store, Jared?
Too much time. Too much.
Okay,
this whole thing.
I don't like going to the store. Okay,
this whole thing may be more therapeutic for Jared than anything else.
This is true. That was my plan with this, was to get some shit off my chest with drive-thrus and grocery stores.
Have a good night, everyone.
You know how silly shit goes? Because like we have this social anxiety like in our household between me and my wife, and even calling in a food order at a restaurant is a debacle. I don't know if you guys have this issue or not, but it's like, well, you call it in. That means the other person has to go pick it up. And both suck equally. They don't, but in my head, both suck equally. I don't want to call them, especially not saying this like, I'm only saying this from personal experience, but consistently ordering Chinese food on the phone, I always feel like I'm getting yelled at. I'm just saying it. I'm not trying to be anything.
By the Chinese restaurant or by your wife?
No, by a Chinese restaurant. Because when you call in the food, for some reason they yell at you. And I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. You probably can't understand me. This is a horrible experience. So that one, I'm usually more on bank for like, I'll just go pick it up. It's fine. You call it in. But yeah, or the other way around.
We live next door, so like they know who we are, and it's 5 minutes away. Like they're the nicest people on the planet. They do yell though.
I think China Walk is the only one that like, yeah, they do yell though. I mean, that's, I don't know.
Jared, what was that
place the kid answering? And again, I'm sorry I said that, but if it's the kid, he's cool.
Jared, what was that place we used to go to when we delivered beer? The Chinese place. It was like an old Hardee's or a Pizza Hut or something like that, I thought.
Oh, yeah, the China buffet. I never got yelled at in there. I only got high-fived.
What was that? Remember we bought Troy there that time and she like screamed at us if we wanted ice cream or something like that and made like some weird like, you want ice cream? We're like, what the fuck? No, we're good.
I got chased out of there once. Sorry to go off subject, but this is an interesting thing. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I have to pee really bad at the Chinese buffet. I go in to go to the bathroom. There's a woman in there cleaning. It's a large men's bathroom. I proceed to take a piss. She chases me out. Was I right or wrong? I still don't know.
You said it was a large bathroom, but I gotta ask, where did you pee?
In the urinal.
Right next to her.
Okay. Yeah.
How long ago was
Because I didn't want her to feel like she wasn't included.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I also witnessed Josh take a piss at a zoo bathroom. And what did you? Can I tell this story?
Yeah, you can.
There's gotta be like 50 people peeing in a huge line at the fucking Milwaukee Zoo, and Josh out of nowhere just goes, "I'm so hard."
In defense, it was my birthday, and we got drunk in the zoo parking lot before we went in.
That's true.
Did they clear a path for you? Were you like Moses with the waters?
Like a few people. Who was that? Our buddy Tom would occasionally like do the little boy piss. He pulled his pants all the way down to his ankles. Yeah. He still does that in his adult life. That's a classic move.
I'll clear a bathroom out real fast.
I hope he watches this. Anyway, so yeah, right. Back on topic. Do you guys? All right. So now that we're all where we are in life and we're married now and everything, Do you guys feel like life's easier being married though? Because I do. I definitely feel like life is easier.
Yeah, I guess too.
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, I think with like kids, it's like, I feel like if I was like a single dad with the 3 boys I have, I'd like, I think we were talking before this. I know, Jared, you said you wanted me to talk about, but Liam just woke up and I had him, you weren't previous. He just woke up and literally walked into the kitchen. Jackie texts me and she goes, Liam just woke up. He's monkeying around in the kitchen. I'm like, well, what's he doing? Tell him to go to the bathroom and go back to bed. And then I heard yelling and she texts me, he just pissed in the garbage can. I'm like, which I feel like if I was a single dad, I wouldn't be able to do that stuff. Like, she kind of taking the responsibility, but I just feel like, it's kind of teamwork in a sense. Kids are tough and, being able to be there for each other. I mean, I guess life in general is just kind of a shit show as it is, but, having someone to lean on. So I think I don't know exactly where I was fully going with this, but I don't know. I think it's easier, I guess, having somebody there for you.
Yeah, I think those moments are nice to have your other half to kind of cool you off. There were so many times. I mean, I've flat out broken to tears, like in a panic, like in a mess of I don't even know if it was a panic. Like my son wouldn't stop crying for hours, and I couldn't get him to stop crying, and then I forget what happened, but Amanda was just like, he's not going to die from crying. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, it's okay. Yeah. But like the whole time I was just like, I'm the worst father. I'm holding you and trying to console you and you don't care. I don't know, your brain goes into weird places, man. Especially like when with our son, it was 9 months of like 3 hours or less of sleep. He just like was like constantly up screaming. And like, I guess, being married and like having that and going through that together definitely pulled us together even closer, which I'm thankful for and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, I still get pissed about the grocery list, but I guess I forgot about the things we came through before the grocery list. So I'm just having my own little moment. I'm having my own moment here, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let it out, man. Just let it out.
I think for me, it was, my whole situation is pretty kind of bizarre, actually. I got married for a very specific reason. I mean, obviously I got married for love, but it was rushed for a reason. And I mean, Christ, I got married at a place that was called Your Special Day in Kansas City.
That's fine. I'm sure lots of people get married there.
Yeah.
Was Rob Schneider there?
Might as well have been.
It's a circle.
Pretty common. Yeah. But there was this, and Jared can attest to this, that my track record with relationships have never been very, very good. And there, as I got older, there had been this anxiety of, I've always wanted to get married. I've always wanted to, have a stable family, and especially after my previous relationship, which was long, it was roughly about 6 years or so. And there's this level of anxiety I had where I was pretty much ready to hang it up. Like, I'm just like, I have 2 uncles who are single, and I'm like, yeah, that's just what I'm going to do. That's going to be my life. And all of a sudden, it's like the moment I kind of hang it up, Heather comes along, and here's this woman who, like, I don't want to sit there and be like, I have the best wife in the world, but here's this woman who I would say things on purpose to try to like get a reaction out of, and I never got a reaction, or like just perhaps I had been looking in the wrong place for such a long time. But then you just kind of instinctively know, and there's like, you think and then and that happened, and it was just like, that's when my mind was actually blown. I thought I had my mind blown before, but my mind was actually blown. And it was like, what she has, and that's something I think we can tap into later, is that, she has her children and I have my son. And it was just like both of us, we had been together only a year, and we're like, let's just do it. Let's make this a family. And that whole anxiety I had been feeling, I didn't realize the pressure I was putting on myself for all those years. not being married and wanting to get married and almost forcing myself to marry somebody who I definitely should not have. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's a thing you don't have to worry about anymore. I think that's just really cool.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, that's I went out to the bar the night I reconnected with Amanda because she was we went to high school together and stuff. We never dated or anything back then, but it was very unexpected. Like you just weren't. It's almost like when you're least expecting it, the kind of shit will come up. Like Adam, you even kind of mentioned that a little bit. Just kind of sneaks up and bites you in the ass. Because I remember just being like, I'm not gonna fucking date anybody. I'm just gonna be this whore that dances around and does whatever the hell I want. I'm done with girls and whatever. If some girl comes along, she's gonna have to have this, and this, and that ain't fucking happening. That night it happened, and then it's like the rest is history. But
I can think for that. I mean, I think Jared, you actually were one of the people that kind of pushed me with Jackie because I don't think we were even dating. I think we went disc golfing, didn't we?
I just remember we were at that bar out in Clark's Mills, and I'm just like, "Are you gonna pursue that?" And you're just like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was just like, "Well, you're a fucking idiot if you don't." Okay. I mean, you were like, how old then, though? I mean, that was
it was like 22, I think. 20,
yeah.
22, 23. I mean, I didn't really date in college. I dated like probably one or two girls, and I got cheated on in both relationships. And I got out of college.
We should revisit that talk too. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I wasn't like looking for anything. And I went to school with Jackie, never talked to her in high school whatsoever. But our parents were like really good friends. So I came back fresh out of college, poor, living at home with mom and dad. And they're like, hey, we're going to go for fish with, Jackie's mom and dad. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll come out for a, free fish dinner. Jackie came out, and then we just kind of had some drinks. And then it was just like, oh, what are you doing back in town? I'm like, well, just kind of looking for a job because I'm fresh out of college, poor college guy, and started hanging out more and more. I think we went disking with you, a couple other guys. I don't know if Loveless was there, and maybe Gray. I can't remember. It was a big group of us, and I remember you pulled me aside and like, what are you doing? And I kept getting like asked by people like, so what's going on with you two? And like, I didn't really realize it. And I think, like you said, Josh, it was like almost like an aha moment. Like, I've been with her for like the last couple months, and it's just like I've never been treated like this amazing by another, individual. And I just like kind of was like almost like taking for granted. And so then I think my kind of like click, we were pretty drunk. We went up to St. Cloud because that's where I went to school, and we're moving my stuff out. And some dude at the bar went by and like slapped her ass, and I just got fucking pissed. Like furious. And I remember we still talk about like joking around to this day. She's like, I was just like, whatever. Like I know, like not that she was like cool with it, but she didn't want to make a big deal. And I was just like, I'm gonna go fucking beat that guy's ass. And she's like, it's okay, you don't need to do that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go kick his ass. Like, and like looking back now, it's like, gosh, I was just like, I was in love with her in a sense. And it was kind of like that moment on. I think I kissed her for the first time that night, and she told me she wants to marry me. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, sounds good. So I think like 6 months later, I think we had I put one in the oven a little early, slipped one through the 5-hole, and that kind of sped along the process. So
your story is very like caveman poetic. Like you were floating around, and then until your territory was like peed on, you're just like, what? Then you came to life.
The testosterone just kicked in.
Has everyone here been in a serious relationship and been cheated on?
Yeah.
How did that make you guys feel? Because that fucked me out of like 5 years of dating, because it put me in a mental state where I just couldn't actually trust anybody. I don't know if that fucked with you guys like that, but that was my experience. It was
it gave me a really great excuse to cheat in my relationships after that.
Yeah, there's that way of
duck for sure, but
you can either grow from it or stoop down to their level.
I never cheated, but I had like really bad trust issues, and actually like Jackie like even told me like we almost broke it off because I was so like bad about it, and it wasn't that I didn't trust her. It was just something like I felt like it was like ingrained in me. Like I just can't, like she'd go out with her friend one night to the bar, which whatever, innocent night, her and her girlfriend from, nursing school going out together, having a few drinks and talking, catching up. But like the entire time, just because I had those bad experiences, like I was just like, what are you doing? Where are you at now? And I was just like, it was just overprotectiveness. It was like ridiculous. And I look back now and I'm just like, God, I was such a dickhead. And
Yep.
like, she's like, I almost broke up with you because I just like, she's like, you're lucky you're such a nice guy. Cause like if it was anyone else, I would have probably just been like, I can't fucking stand this. Like you're just like overbearing. Like, we'd be laying in bed and like one of her friends would text her at 11 o'clock, like, hey, what time are you getting up? Cause she did hospice aid. So they'd get up at 4 a.m. to go do, hospice work at like nursing homes to get ready. And I'd get like text messages like, who the hell is texting you this early? What the hell? Like, look at your phone. Like, it was just ridiculous. So I think that was a huge hurdle for me in like, especially in marriage and a relationship. Like, and I still did it like for a few years after we were married. And I look back now and I'm like, just like, God, like, why did I do that crap? And it sucks, like, being cheated on, I guess, like, because it just kind of like makes you not want to trust other people, especially when I was in like 2 back-to-back relationships the worst thing was that I stuck with the second girl for a long, long time when I was told by all my friends, like, dude, you need to just, it's not good. You need to get out of it. And I just was like, you don't know what you're talking about. So I think that was probably worse because I like put so many eggs in that basket and they all fucking cracked,
Yeah, that's a story old as time right there, where you got your buddies like it's like that the defensiveness mechanism or whatever just like ingrains in you, where you're just like, no, you guys don't know. It's like, here's a picture of her blowing some dude. No, that's not her.
You're in the background watching.
It's not you. Just complete denial. I mean, that fucking happens. Adam, I don't know if you went through some shit you care to share or keep it to yourself. It's up to you.
No, it's just, I guess it's different for me because I was already on a pretty bad downward spiral when that happened. So I guess it was just it didn't really matter as much to me. But again, it was more of a trust issue thing. It was more of a, like, hey, like, what are you, like, are you going out with your friends? Like, who's going to be with you? Like, how long are you going to be out? When are you going to be home? Like, it was a lot of paranoia and a lot of trust issues after that. But to say it was just the cheating thing, I don't really know. Cause like I said, it was already kind of on a hard slip at that point in my life anyways.
Yeah. I got blasted with some shit news. Like I was 19 and I was thinking about like marriage for this chick. And I found that out and I was just like, what? It just completely sidelined me. But I'm glad it happened. And now I look at it like completely different. Like, I don't know if you guys feel like this or not, but like after being married as long as I've been and our relationship, like I don't want to know. I don't want to know anymore. There was a time where if there was some shit going down, I wanted to know. I don't want to know anymore. Just let me be in ignorance for as long as possible. Not saying that's what's going on, but I think that's the better approach, and maybe more people would be happier just like accepting that, because then you can just be like, okay, I totally trust you and I don't have to think about it anymore. And then if you fuck up, well, just don't let me find out about it.
I will say there is something in this, my marriage. This is something new in a relationship wise for me, is that, I hope she's okay with this, but we talk about our sex capades quite a bit. And it's like freeing, because every time like I bring up things I have done in my past that may have been promiscuous or whatever, and I get a lot of like, I don't want to hear it. And I'm not even gonna tell you guys what things I've done to get those reactions, but when we talk about it, it's so just natural and freeing. It's kind of like there's nothing, when you can totally leave yourself vulnerable to anything that you've done. It's man, but then you can really relax, and like be yourself.
So
there's like being yourself, and then there's living as yourself, with someone. And it's a great feeling.
Is that like like, so now you talk about your past sex life, and then she just hears it out and doesn't care. Like she's into it,
she thinks it's
or is
hilarious. You know, she's like,
Okay.
yeah, you're gross, but cool. Like,
Yeah, I'm still I'm still liking it, being in the dark for that kind of stuff. You know, like Amanda would be like,
yeah,
talking about college or whatever. I don't want to hear about it. I don't know. Like, I don't talk about my stuff too much, I guess. I don't know. That was maybe that would be free. Maybe I should just come clean with like everything. There's a lot of weird stuff, man. I don't know if that's a guy thing. Is that a guy thing? Like, we do weird things. There's a lot of weird things that we do sexually that just if you think about it outright, it's just not. You shouldn't do that, but you do. I don't know if we want to talk about said things, but like, I don't know.
I think people have this psychological fear that the other person's going to have more stories, and they're going to be like, holy shit, slow down. Like, I thought you were going to be done at 20. Like,
yeah, that conversation. How many have you been with? 6. Oh, okay. 142.
I didn't know you meant both kinds of trains.
You know what?
143 is such a bad number. You know,
I have a buddy that I'm not going to say his name or go into it too much, but I wish he would come on here and do an interview. He's kind of a swinger, and I'm finding out about this whole underground world of. I don't know if any of you guys are swingers. I don't care. I don't judge, but man, is that world fascinating to me. It is fucking fascinating. Yeah, that would be gold for a podcast to dive into, like all the weird like little things that they do, and they're very courteous and communicative and all this stuff on everything they're gonna do. But yeah, I don't know. I'll let that fucking dance in your heads while you try to figure out who that is.
Are you talking like permission slips and rule sheets and all that kind of stuff?
Kinda. It really is like that. Yeah. It's a very like.
That's Jackie was on a couple like moms like Facebook group pages, and it was like after dark. It would be like we have these things. They're called nuggets. What's their like children couches, or they can like bend them and make them into forts and shit. But there's a Nuggets After Dark Facebook page, which is like the adults version, because people are like, oh, there's a wedge, you can use it for sexual positions and shit like that. And there's some stuff, like some stories, like Jackie's like, you gotta fucking read this. This is nuts. Like someone like just like the sexual escapades of like these other families. So she's like, yep. My husband has his own girlfriend and I have my own boyfriend, and it's just like we know, and it's like Thursday night's my night, Friday night's his night, and they come over and I'm like, wait, what? And like
are they all fucking on these nugget things, or
maybe I don't know if that's the case. It's just like weird because like I'm assuming it's like this innocent like talking about like these children like couch foam things basically, and then they're just talking about having like these swinger adventures, having side girlfriends and side boyfriends and shit like that. I'm like, I don't know if I could ever do that.
I think when I'm like 78, I wouldn't mind stepping into that lifestyle, because at that point, who gives a fuck?
At that point, who's gonna fuck you?
Look at your wrinkly bald scares.
Yeah, who are you gonna find, Jared, at 70?
I'll end up fucking like another
27-year-old that's like, that's him.
Yeah,
that's him.
There's a lot of girls have a Santa Claus complex. You could.
That's true. Yeah, maybe some have some sad old men. I don't know, man. At that point, you might as well fucking roll around on raisins. It's kind of just all the same shit, isn't it? Because your body's all wrinkly and shit. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me.
I feel like Jared has had one of these experiences or something. He knows a little too much.
No, I'm just saying. No. I think there's a point in time where you can just let go and not care anymore.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
You're gonna have to do some reading before you join these swinger groups.
The one weird thing about the age, I always felt like, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but like you don't really like feel like you're an adult until you're like 24 on. That's how I feel like. I feel like my life has only been like this little fucking block. Everything else is like like a dream or like education or whatever, and then it's like, here's your starting point. So I feel like, I don't know if you guys, this is a little off subject, but like I feel young at heart. So when I was younger, I used to feel like, oh, when you're fucking 35, you're going to be like, you might as well fucking die because you're just old as shit. now I'm like 35 and I'm looking at like people like Joe Rogan who's like 53 or 54 and I'm like, well, he still looks good. There's still time.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder, like, now that like realizing like what it actually is to be an adult, which is not much different than being a kid. It's like, okay, well, I got time to get some shit done. And then when I'm done with said shit, then I don't care. When I'm old and like I'm just like every year's a blessing and like a struck of luck, then I think I'll just, maybe then it'll be swinger life, or maybe I'll take on motorcycle riding, or I don't know, experiment with things. I don't know. I am kind of reserved in general. That whole rant made no sense.
About the same thing.
You guys, any of you ride or get like that itch? I could never understand that, like that drive to ride, or like, what do you call that? Like, motorcycle
to ride.
Motorcycle.
Are you talking about swinging or cycling?
No, motorcycle riding. Like,
drive to ride, baby.
Like, I never understood. Okay,
I did back in the day. I wanted to get like, I think because Troy had one when we used to work at Hendrix, and I wanted to get like, I didn't want to get a crotch rocket or anything. I wanted to get like a Harley or something, something with a big engine. But I don't know. I think it just, we had, like you said, like getting old, kind of an adult or young thing. We had Logan really quick. So like, I feel like we didn't really get that. And then once I had kids, I was just like, shit, I don't even want to risk it. You see, especially like with kids and like cell phones and shit lately, not even kids. It's just so many people are on like their phones when they're driving. It's like, I just can't trust anyone on the road nowadays, especially to be in something where I'm on a motorcycle where like, shit, some guy is on his cell phone looking at Facebook and then just clips me and I'm fucking dead. It's like, it's not worth risking it. I mean, I'm sure Jackie might be happy I got a nice life insurance policy, but I don't know. I don't want to risk it myself, to be honest. But maybe when I'm older, like you said, I don't know.
The appeal of that, like, just never sung out to me. Some people get like the calling to do something weird, like when they hit like their what do they call that, midlife crisis or whatever. Like, I just picture like the one thing that should never happen to me, just being like, Harleys, like, fucking gonna go ride. Let's go ride. And like, and I got friends that do it, and that's cool, but I don't understand it, and it just like doesn't make sense to me. Like, I rode a motorcycle once. It was terrifying. It was not fun. I was going 45, and I felt like all it takes is one tire to pop, and I'm probably dead or deformed and ugly for the rest of my life. So that appeal, I don't know. I find it fascinating when people like go off the deep end, or they hit that midlife crisis. I don't know if you guys ever seen like your parents go through a midlife crisis or anything. It's fascinating, to say the least. But I don't know. I almost wonder what mine's going to be. Maybe I'm in it already because I'm like doing like the podcasting and like, streaming and shit.
Me and you, yeah, I feel like people like me and you have been having our midlife crisis since we're in our 20s. I don't think, it's. I don't feel like I've grown up enough to deserve a midlife crisis. I think I have been living in the life of luxury of having, doing just these hobbies and side projects and things like that. Usually I think you see people break down when they've really committed their life to their job, then they realize their job fucking sucks, and then they have a midlife crisis. I feel like I've kept a pretty good balance, probably maybe too much on the adolescent end of things, but I try to stay as young as possible.
I feel like that keeps it fresh though, like you're not going to have a midlife crisis because you're enjoying life. It's not like I feel like those guys like hit a stage and they're like, fuck, I never drove a sports car. I need to go and buy a Corvette. And that's normally what it is. It's like, let's go blow a bunch of cash on some sort of sports car or something like that. That's normally how you're like, oh, that guy had a midlife crisis or something. So, I mean, I feel like if you keep it fresh, like you said, and you're interested in hobbies and your kids are keeping you interested in stuff, like maybe we just won't hit that. I don't know.
I can't wait till one of you fucking go off the deep end into a midlife crisis, and I'll send you a clip of this podcast.
Remember Hunter, you stupid son of a bitch, when you said this?
Hunter has a horse ranch.
Move out to Montana.
Now he raises prairie dogs. Something weird.
I got 47,000 prairie dogs. Good for you.
What do you got?
What do you got, big boy?
What do you got? What a comeback. I got 47,000 prairie dogs. What do you got? I don't know, a life.
Damn it, he's right.
I have a yard, sir.
Yeah, right.
Do you guys? Okay, so we've definitely gone off all around on the marriage, and then off to us being men and being selfish and talking about our own things. But do you guys have? I wrote this down. I kind of want to get back to it. Like, not if you don't want to talk about it, but sex life. Do you feel like over time, or if you're there you go, Josh. Do you feel like that slows down, or do you think like you keep pace, or do you feel like there's a stigma where you have to do it? You know, like, is there like, what are you guys like situations, or how do you feel about it? Or like, do you feel like you still got that spark? Do you still got because raising kids, I think, has changed the game a lot for me, where it's like, you kind of like, it's as random as like getting a phone call. It's just like, oh, the kids are gone. Oh, and it's just like those stupid moments you saw in sitcom shows where the Bundys would go up the steps or whatever the fuck. Like, that's how I feel.
Coming off.
Right. That's how I feel my sex life is sometimes now. It's like, oh, we get a break from like everything else. We can do this. I don't know. Like when we were younger, it was more like it didn't matter. We didn't really give a shit. But now it's like, now we're like old about it. It's still good, but it's just random. Anyway, tell me about your sex lives.
No, I agree. I think it's kind of the same. You know, it's like, yeah, you can't just be like whenever the hell you want. You know, you got to pick and choose. Otherwise, you got kids like walking in your room if they are at home or something like that.
I'm having a lot more basement sex than I ever thought I would have. I don't know if you could agree with that, guys.
It's very axe murderous from you.
Yeah, just it's in random locations. Like you just never knew when it's going to strike. But no, yeah, I think I agree with you, Jared. Like with the kids, it's like a whole nother factor you got to like think about when you're trying to plan it out, if you even can plan it out. To be honest, just spur of the moment shit, kind of.
Yeah.
No kids, baby. When the moment hits.
Yeah. I don't know what I maybe it's because it's been like this since my sex life is out of control. I mean, the amount of passion right now is it's awesome. It's just I'm having the most and best sex of my life. But I do notice something that has changed is that versus before children, I used to be able to do this little maneuver in the middle of the night. Just couldn't sleep, and you almost get like that rollover, and she's sleeping, but you get that sympathy thing where you just kind of like you hump her enough until she's sick of it and she gives up the cookie, you know. And then that shit doesn't happen anymore, you know.
Just slaps you in the face.
Yeah,
it's just like literally. You know, has your wife ever done something like that gross you out on purpose? You know, like
yes,
yeah, and and you get those tactics now.
No, just a big fucking fart right your
they'll
way.
Like roll over and just breathe in your face, and they've been sleeping. You know, they've been sleeping for 6 hours. You're like, yeah, no, that was my mistake. I shouldn't have asked you. Yeah, you fucking kidding me?
One weird confession I have to put out there, which, honey, sorry if you're watching. I don't know if you guys are like this, but I'm not a big fan of making out. I'm just not like I think when you're dating earlier on, you both brush your teeth constantly, and you're all worried about like the breath and everything. Then after you're married, it's just like, that's the last thing I want to do. I watch you eat like a bunch of pickles. Like, I don't want to make out with you.
Where's the tolerance level? I know Jackie does that time. She's like, babe, your breath just, I'm sorry, it smells. But I feel like if you're dating, you know, pre-marriage, you put up with all that shit. Like I could smoke like the worst fucking stogie that night, and she's like, oh, let's make out. But then it's like, I have like a stogie around the campfire, and I walk in. Oh, fucking disgusting! I'm like,
you used to like this.
And you used to buy these for me. You said these don't smell good. Just kind of keeping it in the rhythm.
They do that. Women will like set up different boundaries, and then once you cross the threshold, then
they lock you in.
Yeah, there's definitely things that changed. And I'm like, well, why don't we do that no more? It's because we're married. Oh. But I thought you liked that.
I was lying to you. I hate it.
I was lying to you. I hate it. Do you know how many things I fucking cooked that she finally confessed like years later that she doesn't like? That pissed me off. And she got mad at me. Because I was more honest about it, like right away in the beginning. She'd make spaghetti. She'd be like, "Oh, how do you like the spaghetti?" I don't like spaghetti. And then she'd just be like, "Oh," and like sad about it. And it's like, told you from day one, I don't like spaghetti sucks. It's the most boring bullshit meal.
Just throw the whole pot in the garbage.
Yeah, and then she's crying.
I need it to know it will.
It took me 17 minutes, Jared. 17. Well, it should have took you 9. It only takes 9 minutes to make fucking noodles the right way.
Yeah, no wonder why you hate spaghetti. Thinking spaghetti should take you 15 minutes.
I want al dente or nothing. But
have you ever? Oh, sorry, that just made me think of something. That's pretty good. Have you ever done this shit where your wife, you guys get an argument? Again, I love we're going back to food because I think that literally is like the center of most bullshit arguments in a marriage. But you ever do this shit where like you fight about food or something, about dinner, and then you act like the bitch and you're like, "Well, I'm not hungry. I'm just not going to eat." And you just go without eating. Like somehow you're hurting her because you're already fucking fat. Like, I know this is probably for more me, Jared, and Anna.
Oh my God.
Like I'm going to go on a hunger strike and show you like they give a shit.
Oh yeah. That is a fucking, you can't use their tactics against them. Ever, you know, like when you pull that shit, it backfires immediately.
Here they are.
I just do the opposite and start eating hers.
There you go. I think like it's surprising because there's such an inconsistency. Back on food again, there's such an inconsistency when it comes to shit because like if I ever go to a restaurant, whether it's McDonald's or fucking something fancy, anything, I have to bring something home. I could never come home with a bag of food and not have something for my wife. That's just something I understand from day one. But continuously, she can come home and just have like, me and the kids stopped at McDonald's. And then I come up like a little fucking hungry rabbit, like, "Oh, would you get me anything?" And you're like, "Well, no, I didn't think you were hungry." "Oh." Or you said you didn't want anything. And I was like, "Yeah, I said that like 4 hours ago." I don't know if you guys go through that, but I get that.
I have it different because Jackie's got like an autoimmune disease, so she's got like an extremely strict diet, so like she can't eat like any fast food whatsoever. But I just get like the guilt trip, like we'll be driving like through Appleton or something like that. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm Panda Express. Some fucking orange chicken sounds good right now. And I'm like, I'm gonna go, and she'll just like kind of glare at me because like she used to love that food, but she can't eat it anymore. So like I like get the bowl, and I'm just like munching away. I'm like, "Hey, do you mind driving so I can eat on the way home?" And she's like, are you kidding me right now? And she's like,
she's gonna smell it in your beard later when she's trying to kiss you.
And I think that's like the worst because like I can continue to eat whatever the fuck I want, but like we used to love going out for sushi, but now she can't have like grains or anything like that. So like the rice, so it's like we can't do that anymore. So I have to like kind of like rely on festival food Thursday $5 sushi, which isn't anywhere good compared to the
it's awful. Shit. Quick Trip has sushi now too. Gas station sushi.
What?
Yum. So
speaking of Quick Trip, their chicken's phenomenal. I just want to plug that in there.
The sponsor. Yeah, maybe. There's a sushi. I forget what it's fucking called now. It's another term. Sushimi. I think.
Yeah, it's raw.
That's just the fish. So there's no rice.
It's literally like a fillet of octopus or eel or fish, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, because I had that on Friday because Amanda got sushi and I'm on keto, so I couldn't eat it. So I had to eat sushimi. It sucked. She got 2 rolls, like mango madness roll and like a dragon roll or something. She had this. It was her birthday, so whatever. She got to eat like a queen. But I ate my little plastic thing of like 4 pieces of fish, and I'm just like staring at her eating delicious food.
You bitch.
Yeah. I didn't think that
all the time.
It's like, what about this? Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, if you want to get another food thing and go on, because I'm going on. Yeah, I'm going a different way here.
Something that actually just popped in, like happened this morning, and like this shit too, right? Like, so a week ago, weekends we get like donuts or something for everybody for breakfast for the kids, and we get, I bring back, or somebody does, I forgot who gets it, doesn't matter, because she'll bring back donuts and then there will be like 12 of them and she eats like 7 of them, right? And I still catch myself like being super fucking polite. But it pissed me off that she ate all these fucking donuts. So this morning there was one blueberry muffin left. And there it is on my island. I get up and I'm like, oh, I could go for a muffin. That looks good. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, but it's the only one. I know I'll get yelled at. I know I will.
Yep.
But this is what I'll do. I'll take a little piece off the top and I'll put it in my mouth and then I'll leave it. And now I can show her. This is what goes through my fucking mind. I can show her that I only took a piece. I'm showing her that I was hungry. But I left her the rest of the muffin because I'm such a great guy. And then I walk away and I remember about the fucking donuts. And I'm like, no, fuck that. No. So I go back and I cram the whole shit in my mouth and I just eat it. She comes out 15 minutes later and like clockwork, I knew it. Oh, you ate the last muffin?
Nice.
That was you? Did you eat that? Yeah, I ate it. You ate 7 donuts last weekend.
You just got like a notebook of all the misdealings in the house.
But it's like these little like friendly, funny jabs. At some point, we're gonna snap probably. But it's fun now.
My wife used to get ice cream, and it would sit in the freezer for like a fucking year, and I finally go in and I eat the little thing of ice cream. Next fucking night, where's my ice cream? It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? But that kind of shit happens all the time. Leftovers, I'll eat her leftovers like late at night. I'll sneak in the fridge and she gets so mad,
dude. Worst. And then if you don't eat the leftovers, then it's like, well, that's just fucking, they just want the waste.
That's lose-lose.
Yeah, like, when I eat your leftovers, you get pissed, but then when I don't eat them, you get fucking pissed too.
Yeah, we can't win. They just constantly keeping us on our toes.
And we all agree that's just what husbands have to do. They're just, we're just never going to be fucking right.
I'm just laughing at all of you guys right now.
Adam has.
I don't know how you do it. I have none of these problems. My wife is 5'3" and I'm 6'4" and 400 pounds. She knows who ate everything. And she lets me. She's like, hey, I bought a bunch of extra stuff. I know you're going to eat it all.
God damn it, Adam. I'm jealous.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
There's nothing worse than like going on a diet and then giving your wife the okay to keep you in check. Because that just like gives you more reason to get mad at her.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
Like I went a whole week on it, and then she had her birthday, and her and Maddie made this fucking beautiful strawberry cake. It was like a fucking mile high. I just wanted
the way you're talking about it. Yeah.
I just wanted one little piece, and I ate it, and it was just like
that's not keto.
The look I got. And then I was like, oh, well, because of that, I can have a couple drinks, right? And then it was just, it was shame. It was the look of shame as soon as I started. I don't know. I mean, I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're smart. Like Heather will do that. And like, I'll tell her I'm going on a diet and then I'll get something at the store. And she doesn't make it's what she says. She just looks at me and goes, oh, are you sure? That's all I get.
It's like moving chess pieces.
It works every time. I'm like, no, I'm not sure. I'll put it back.
Deep down like a fucking you're just like, I want that.
Yeah.
Like frozen burritos. You're like, God, these look fucking good. And she's like, oh, you know how much shit's in that? It's like,
oh, it's so bad.
I'll just put it back on the shelf. That's the worst. She says Jackie eats so healthy because of her diet she's on. So like I'll grab something that just like the college me would have been like, oh fuck yeah, this is like my meal the next 4 nights. And she's like, oh, you know how much crap's in that? And I'm like, fuck. Yes, I do. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm at that point where I don't give a shit.
You should grab that.
Have any of you ever had that moment where you run up to your wife in a store? It doesn't even have to be grocery, with an item in your hand, like a kid. And she says no.
Nope.
Yeah. Hey, the Mad Max trilogy's on sale, $10 on Blu-ray. Why do we need that? It's Mad Max. mean, come on.
Have you ever? Here's the real question: have you ever said no to any of your wife's purchases? Nope.
No.
You say no, but you know they just do it in the background. Babe, I really needed it. Oh, okay.
Well, you also do it. You're like, so you can get that Mad Max fucking. You think that's gonna give you a golden ticket, and it fucking.
Oh
doesn't.
yeah.
I think that's the true reason. I think that's the true reason why my wife doesn't want me to go grocery shopping or go to stores. Like she likes it all online, so she has total control. Because I always come home with like extra shit.
She knows what she's doing.
She's wise, but she can shop on Amazon nonstop. There's always packages at the door. I don't know what the fuck's coming or going.
And now we're wrapping into part 2 of marriage with Amazon shopping.
Oh God, yeah. Why do we need
guilty party?
You're the Amazon shopper?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's I had a bad run on it, and then I gave her total control because it was just like, oh, I spent fucking $1,300 last month on bullshit. Whoopsie.
These daily deals are great.
Shit adds up, but like some of it makes sense. Like if you're gonna order like toiletries and stuff like on Amazon, it kind of makes sense. Like you can get like bulk order paper towel and toilet paper. That was really nice to have last year for some reason. I don't know, it just worked out. Everyone else was losing their minds over at the store, and I'm like, I do that on Amazon. Anybody run out of toilet paper through that shit?
No.
Would you have had too much pride to just ask your neighbor for a roll? Or would you have just dug in there barehanded?
I got a lot of old shirts.
There you go.
Yeah. A good washcloth.
3 boys who just decide to use like a whole roll of toilet paper every single time they take a shit. So
oh my God,
a lot of it.
Isn't it amazing?
Hey,
what?
Whose kids are bad at wiping their ass?
Is that mine? Horrible. Liam just grabbed like 18 sheets of it and then just crumples it in a ball and just dabs it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, take
how do you fix that?
2 or 3 plies, fold it, and wipe. You probably do 2 wipes, you're good. And he goes, oh, I always forget. And I'm like, shit, man, you got to get this stuff together.
You guys want to know a parenting fucking hack that'll save your lives?
Yes, please.
Warm up a fucking little Hershey block and then smear it on their thigh, then give them some toilet paper to practice with, so they can physically see the progress, and they'll understand the motion. Sawyer, he wipes like a champ.
Oh shit, huh?
I'm so glad we don't have kids.
I'm gonna be so mad if that
just make sure
nothing for me.
Just make sure you don't like get the fucking chocolate like molten hot and pour it on your child. Why is my son at the hospital? Because my dad poured melted chocolate on me. Yeah. Explain that one.
So why are you trying to recreate an LL Cool J video on your kid?
Do you guys have to go through I know we keep jumping around. You guys have a lot of interesting times. Like, are holidays easy? Is there a bunch of fuckery when it comes to the holiday season, being married and everything else? Because like my wife's family is there's a divorce there, so there's like, and there's feuding there, so it goes even deeper. So there's like 4 Christmases on that side that have to get navigated through. It's exhausting. But anyway, I was curious if you guys have like some marriage, if that changed, or that's usually you establish that before you get married anyway, like what's going on holiday wise or any of that shit.
I got pretty lucky. This is the first time my parents actually enjoy my significant other, well, now my wife's parents, and actually just Easter, they spent all Easter together, and what a fucking relief that is. Like,
yeah, that can be a pleasure.
Oh my God. I've never dealt with anything otherwise. It's always especially my mother. She's like the grand matron of the family. She like pushes people off her porch all the time. So like she's, it was a big deal when that happened. It was just such a fucking sigh of relief. It's probably don't have to deal with,
Mine was a little different because I'm an only child and I have like probably 7 cousins total. And Jackie has like 50 cousins total, and like just tons of it. Like her dad's like one of 11, her mom's one of 13.
Holy
so like,
shit!
Like the dynamic of like the smaller like holidays compared to that I was used to growing up like changed like drastically. So like now we have like 40 people in the house and like everyone's trying to find a spot to like fucking sleep on a couch or everyone's arguing which rooms getting where blow up mattresses are going up. I mean it's fun because like I normally our Christmases are pretty small and now we have like a huge group of people coming together, which is cool. But Jackie was the only dynamic that's kind of changed. She was in a pretty bad car accident, so she's kind of got anxiety about driving, especially in the winter. And my family's like up north, like 3 hours in Rhinelander, so like the drive is just kind of tough, especially with the kids. They're getting better now that they're getting older, but when you have kids that are like 1 and 3 and stuff, and car seats and stuff, like a 3 hour drive is just kind of a pain in the ass. So I think this year we might get a little bit back to going back up north and splitting everything up. But yeah, I mean we our biggest thing is we wanted to make our own like family time. So like Christmas morning is our immediate like in our house family time, and then after that we'll kind of figure it out from there where we distribute the grants around, so to speak.
Adam, do you got some fun run around Christmas, I don't know, holiday fun?
It's not so bad for me. My whole family is pretty much in the county, so we all kind of get together on one day. Neither of my parents have very big families, and my wife's parents live in Marinette, but her families are both huge, and none of their relatives are super close. Her parents are divorced, and her mom lives out in Washington State, so we try to get out there whenever we can, but as far as traveling around for the holidays, usually everything is here, so we don't go very far.
So who's got some in-laws that they feud with? Any you guys got lucky on that end, or who's got some dirt, or even like their like grandparents or anything like that? There's got to be somebody, because I got one. I get along with everybody, mind you, but there's a mental. I don't know if it's a mental block or like everyone in the family bends to the will of Amanda's grandma. Gigi is the ruler. She's the one in charge of everything, and I just can't. So I'm always pissing her off with everything. But I don't know if you guys have that kind of like. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna vent this off. I'm airing it out, guys. I'm letting it fly. So, would you be okay with somebody giving you Christmas deer to set up in your yard through the holiday, and then at the end of the Christmas season they come by and they pick them back up? Why not just give me the Christmas deer?
Jared's settling an argument right now. He just wants more people on his side.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want them. They're ugly.
So were you forced to set them up, or did you ask to be lent them?
I didn't know. It was just like, oh, I have these Christmas deer for you, and I was just like, I don't want them. And then Amanda was like, oh, Gigi wants to bring her Christmas deer to add to our decorations. I was like, oh, that's weird because we didn't ask for them. It's like, and then I'm like, I don't want them. She's like, no, we're getting them. And she's like that too. My wife is very much like, no, you bend to the will of Gigi and do the things. And I'm just like, I don't want them. So now every Christmas I have to get these deer from her, and they come with standard 1970s extension cords prone to fires. I have to set them up in my yard. They freeze to the ground. Then I have to chisel them out and get them back to her on a random day, because she'll just be like, oh, I'm coming to get my deer. And of course I have to get them out. But yeah, why not just give us the deer? Why do I have to? What do you do with the deer on the off season? Like, are they going?
I feel like that's the point you got to make. Like, what are you doing with them? Hey, how about we just store them here for you? That'll be easier. Maybe you like throw that back at her.
She's also the not to like, she has a good side about her and everything, but she's got that, like, she's the boss lady and everybody's always kissed her ass, so that's just how she operates. Like, we were driving to the Neville Public Museum and the GPS was giving us directions, and she got pissed at the GPS and said it was leading us the wrong way. Like, no, it's not 2003. This shit actually works now. Yeah. And we ended up there fine. But that's what I have to deal with. Like, that's the only burden on my That's the only thing I got to vent off. I don't know if you guys have a situation similar or a weird. Adam, you look like you might.
I just like to put something out here for this. Hi, Gigi. My name is Adam Gauthier, and I'm a lifelong friend of Amanda's. And I just want to say that if you feel like writing them out of the will right now, you give me a call, and I'll get you all my pertinent information, including Social Security and address. And you rest assured that Uncle Adam will be here for you in good times and bad. Okay? Okay.
Oh, dude.
I care about you, Gigi.
My wife is the only grown up in that whole family. I shit you not. Like, she organizes all the holidays, all the everything, getting a hold of everybody. She does all the things, but then everyone else gets to go to the things and then dictate the things. It's really bizarre and annoying. But yeah, that's
my mother-in-law's she is an extra woman. No, she's wonderful, absolutely wonderful woman. Help. No, I'm kidding. She's really great, but she does this thing where she, like, you know, I'm a minimalist. I don't like keeping a lot of things. I get rid of a lot of things, and one thing I'll never accept from anybody, or like, I hate taking hand-me-downs. Absolutely hate it. Drives me fucking bonkers. And every time you may have mentioned something, this woman's pushing a hand-me-down on you, and you're always put in this awkward position. And she's they're a very Italian, like, strong Italian family, and you can't say no once. You have to fucking raise your voice to, like, say no. You know, you can't. Oh no, thank you. And then literally she's getting it and, like, giving it to you. And you have to be like, no, I don't want it.
That sounds like my mother.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's shit. I have great in-laws.
Yeah, I get along with mine too. Like my father-in-law and I, like, he'll just sometimes call me. It'd be like Friday night, and he's like, "Tell Jackie to bring the boys over to the house. You and me are gonna go out and get some beers." I'm like,
oh, yeah,
all right, sounds good. So then we'll go out and have drinks until sometimes like 12 o'clock at night, and I'll get texts. And it's kind of like a weird, like, area, because it's like I can't really get yelled at because I'm hanging, with my father-in-law. So, like, Jackie can't get too pissed at me,
Oh,
but she still does kind of, like, it's just bullshit. You just get to go out and always just hang out with my dad, and you guys get drunk. And I'm like, well, and I also feel awkward because it's like, well, I don't want to be like, no. It's like, he does a lot for our family and everything. He's always, like, helping out and stuff, and he loves our boys and everything. So it's like, I don't want to be like, no, I'm not hanging out with you at all, John. Sorry about that. But yeah, so it's like, it's kind of like a weird situation, because it's like Jackie can't get too mad at me because I'm hanging out with her dad. But she's like, he only wants to hang out with you. He never wants to hang out with me. I'm like, well, I'm just more fun than you are. I'm sorry.
Oh, and if you say that as a joke, they'll take it literally and get mad at you.
She just like, whatever. Whatever.
I got to do so much extra ice fishing because of that excuse, where I would just get asked by Amanda's brothers or
nice.
her dad, and then I would just look at it and be like, I have to go. I can't say no.
Yeah, it's tough and fun at the same time.
Well, overall, let's give marriage a fucking rating of a hot dog, marshmallow, or budgie pie. I'm gonna give let's give Hunter the floor for the first pick here.
Shit, marshmallow. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to go with pudgy pie again. I just feel like it's a very Swiss Army knife answer, basically. I think there's just so many things. I mean, like, I think we talked about it earlier. It's like, marriage kind of evolves. You kind of see this outside shell of a person, and you kind of fall in love with, and then you open up and you get to know them more. And sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. But no, I feel like, it's, for me and Jackie, I feel like we've grown even closer throughout our 8 years together and stuff, being married, and we know each other more. We know what ticks us off. We know when it's pointless to argue about shit. So I feel like, I feel like the inside of this pudgy pie is not ketchup and mayo this week. It's nice, maybe a PB&J, a good one, something I like.
All right, Adam.
You know, to really sum it all up, I think marriage is it's a pudgy pie that's made out of hot dogs and marshmallows. And I'm gonna tell you why.
The trifecta. We're ready for it.
Yeah, it's because I don't know what the rating system means.
It doesn't have a meaning.
So if you put all of them together, then you're not wrong. But no, it's like
Adam just trying to cover his ass for when his wife.
But marriage is juggling. It is. It's just juggling. Like, but don't. The nice part about marriage, you don't have to have a representative of yourself anymore. Like, you don't have to try to be someone to make someone happy. Like, now you get to take all that shit off. Like, so 4 stars to marriage or whatever. Like, it's a blast. Sometimes.
You change the rules, but we'll accept it. All right, Josh.
I do what I want.
Marriage is like a marshmallow. Shit starts on fire, and as time goes on, both shrivel to nothing, and then there's death. It's over.
That's awful.
Yeah.
You slowly fall off the stick.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
You guys didn't know I was gonna put the rating system to this, did you?
Really
I thought you were gonna have something. I didn't know it was gonna be the same rating system.
Yeah, we should do a different one every week.
That's gotta be camping related though.
Fuck, I guess.
Is that the only things you bring camping? Is hot dogs and marshmallows and fudgy pies?
We should do an episode on camping, probably.
Awful. Stupid.
I got to get mine off real quick. Marriage is a hot dog, because you can put a lot of different things into it and try different things, and it's like we're each one of the buns along the source of goodness.
I was just hoping that you weren't going to say marriage is like a hot dog. It's all lips and assholes.
Yeah.
That's so much
too.
more appropriate. That was
That
literally
too.
the equivalent of like your first day as a freshman in speech class. And that's what Jared did.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You've been watching Camping for Assholes.